lighthearted conversation, but could get deep,
Okay,
depending.
hit me.
So, oh my gosh, I just spent a week with my grandkids, ages 11 through 16. There's three of them. And what do you do when you get together with teenagers? You end up talking about poop. That's what we did. We talked about poop. And there's an old Chris Rice song called Questions for Heaven. Like, what are the questions you're going to ask God when you get there? And one of the questions that I always come back to is, God, you could have designed our bodies any way that you absolutely wanted to, and you choose to make us poop. This is the Heart and Soul Elevation Podcast. I'm Melissa, Christian life coach.
I'm Stephanie, metabolic health coach.
We started this show because we were done separating faith from health, like they're two different conversations when they're not.
Your health is a vehicle for your faith, for showing up, staying active in your community, having the energy to be salt and light.
So if you've been craving a space that takes Jesus seriously and takes your health seriously, you found it. Stick around. Oh my gosh, it was hysterical. It was hysterical talking about poop. And my granddaughter, she says, "Do you think God poops?" I said, "Well, the Bible says we're made in his image, so I'm going to guess yes." I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know. It doesn't say.
Yeah, it doesn't
It
say. I
doesn't
mean,
say.
are we created in his image just emotionally,
Spiritually.
spiritually, and physically we have a form? I
Right. Right. These are questions for heaven. But I said, you know what? We know Jesus pooped. It doesn't say it in the scriptures, but we know he was fully man. So that means
and he ate.
Jesus pooped. He pooped.
So he did. And he
He
was a baby
pooped.
who did it too.
Yes. So questions for heaven. Like when we get there, God, why do we have to poop? What is the point behind poop? But as a health coach, I know that you know that there is a very, very important diagnostics that poop gives us. So I don't know if people out there also wonder these. I'm weird. I know it. I get it. But like, is anybody else wondering like why do we have to poop? I mean, it's just gross. Yet we poop all the time. Babies come out of the womb pooping, right? We poop all the way up until the day we pass. So like, what are some of the things that we learn from poop? Because as coaches, that's one of the questions we ask our people. We
It
ask about your poop.
It,
It's
it is.
what we
And,
do.
and even, and anyone who don't, everybody, they're worried. They go, oh, this might be TMI, but, and I'm like, first of all, you're talking to me. So there isn't such of a thing as TMI when you're talking to Stephanie.
Yes.
Coach Steph, no TMI.
No TMI here either. Yes,
I have seen
absolutely.
pictures of colonoscopies. I'm,
Mhm.
even though I'm not a diagnostic person or anything like that, but
I
just
even
bragging, look, it's beautiful. And I'm like, that's gorgeous. And I'm just celebrating with them, you
I,
know?
I even asked my grandson, I said, "Do you know where your poop rate's on the Bristol poop scale?" He's like, "The what?"
What? Yeah, well, you want to be a 4 or 5, you know?
Yes.
Uh, so exactly. I mean, and if you don't know where your poop rates on the Bristol scale, hit us up. We're going to help you out. We can tell you. You can
Because
tell a lot from poop. But
you
this
can
is
tell
okay. I
so
have a
much
question
from
for you
poop.
before we even get into what are other questions, but we're talking about poop, but what would you have to trade up to stop pooping? Do you enjoy eating? Do you enjoy flavor? Do you enjoy the taste? Like,
Sometimes.
you know, I'm a foodie.
I know
I
you are.
adore food. I adore making tasty food. I adore seasonings. I adore it. And I simply take pleasure in eating. And when I sit down for my lunch and I am looking at my aura ring and I'm looking at my stress level and I'm just sitting down quietly, mindfully, and slowly eating and enjoying my food. Do you know that no matter, I could have just come out from a stressful whatever, and you'll see it just go right down into restore. My parasympathetic mode is like, I am fully committed to rest and digest so that this is going to be great. And that's how much I prioritize and cherish that time.
Hmm.
And I do have great poop. Not always, but I haven't always had it, but and I can usually figure out why it isn't if it isn't.
Hmm.
But it tells you a lot. And in fact, because we eat, we can't use everything in all of the food we have. What are we going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
If this is why I say, if you want to eat, it has to come out. Your body has to process it. It's like, and I think we do a much better job most of the time than the recycling plant does with our recycled trash, because it should sift through it and everything. And a lot of people say that that doesn't actually go anywhere and they're just tossing a lot of it anyway. I don't know. Part of me just doesn't want to know. I spend a lot of, I maybe they'll, and I think they do get better at sorting things and they're getting more and more efficient with it. We're just going to go with that.
I'm just going to bite my tongue.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that, you know, we're going through and our bodies are amazing and it's going through and it's like breaking this down, and it's got enzymes and whatnot to break down things that our body recognizes. So keep in mind there's a lot of stuff in some created food nowadays that our body can't recognize and can't do anything to do with, and that's stuff you have to eliminate, or it's getting stuck in your body because again we don't know what
Right.
to do with it. um, but we're breaking all of this down, and if we've got a nice smooth move in through our colon, then we're not going to reabsorb things that we're not supposed to reabsorb. You know, when we're healthy in our intestines, everything it goes the way it's supposed to be. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
our gut health is really truly the most important part of our body when it comes to physical, metabolic, emotional, and hormonal, and like and health, mental health. It's it's absolutely critical.
Mm-hmm.
That is where the outside world becomes who you are. What are we letting into our bodies?
Right. And I'm sure your pastor said it, my pastor said it. Pastors throughout the years have said it, garbage in, garbage out. But they're talking about what we're watching or hearing. It's the emotional, mental stuff. But it's the same with our bodies, garbage in, garbage out. Good stuff in, good stuff out. And when we were moving back from Guam, this was like the most incredible tip that I got from my vet. She said 3 days before the trip, start feeding them baby food, like the meat, the turkey and the chicken. Give them baby food because their body will process that correctly and there will be very little waste.
True. Yeah. I
Very
mean,
little waste.
if
Take
you
them
eat
off the kibble, give them real food, and their body will process it and there will be very little waste. And I was like, that's brilliant.
if we eat just the right amount of the right kind of protein,
Hmm.
it should be virtually, and our digestive system is healthy and we've got enough stomach acid and we're not blocking it. You know, if we can
Hmm.
digest our protein appropriately and we're healthy and we're putting out all the digestive enzymes, then almost all of the protein is absorbed in your small intestine.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
a very low residue diet, they call.
Yeah. And your poop tells you, kind of gives you an indicator of the health of your digestive system.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, if you're not sure, let us know. Visit with a naturopath, somebody who's going to ask you about your poop. Not regular doctors don't generally. Actually, let me say, I was talking with my aunt a while back, and we were talking about poop. Don't ask me why I always talk about poop. We always end up talking about poop. I don't know. I'm a 12-year-old boy in my brain. That's all I can say. But I asked her, I was like, well, do you go every day? She's like, well, no, I go every 3 days. And my doctor said that's fine. And that is where we are now. Medical doctors are telling people, as long as you're going once or twice a week, it's fine.
But that's actually, I mean, and it really, really depends. If you're on a carnivore diet and all you eat is protein and fat, then yeah, you might eventually, after you get acclimated to that, not go every day. That is distinctly possible.
Mm-hmm.
But on a regular omnivorous diet, your transit time from when you eat to when you go shouldn't be more than 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to test it, have some beets and sesame seeds and look at how long it takes for red and
And
red
seeds
poop
to
with
come back
sesame
out.
seeds to come out the other side. That's your
Mm-hmm.
transit time. And if it's over 24 hours, you've got a problem. I mean, things aren't going as well as they should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about if
There's lots of
it's
things that can cause that. I mean, it
Yeah,
could be
what
that
about
you're
if
not,
it's really quick? Like what if somebody eats it and it comes back out just a few hours
and
later?
that's too
That's
fast.
also
That's
an issue.
then you're going to be a
Yes.
6 or 7 on the Bristol chart. Just a fun.
Yes, and your body's not absorbing what it needs to absorb.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a problem there.
There's a sweet spot in there.
Hmm.
4 or 5.
So what kind of questions do you have for heaven? Like that's my big one.
That's
Why do we
that.
why do we have to poop?
Why do we have to poop? Gosh, I have so many that I joke that God already has an FAQ manual printed up just to hand me. He's not going to let me ask. He's just like, here are the answers. You're ridiculous. You literally ask why about everything, Stephanie. Here it is.
Mhm.
It's actually the size of the Encyclopedia Britannica,
Got it.
full volumes with
Mhm.
all of the extra years added on. I mean, here you go. Have fun. I'll see you in a few years as you read
Mhm.
all of that. It's funny because I'm trying to think about a question that I have right at this moment. And I feel that I've been wrestling with so many of these questions for so long that he has put the answer in my spirit and I'm okay with it. So, my sister was born with a rare, very rare um, genetic syndrome. I remember, I don't know the conversations because she was born 6 years before me, but I know that it was very big stress on my parents. And my mom felt that she was blamed for it, that it was her fault somehow. And it was congenital. So who knows what caused it? And then the question becomes, well, why? Why? Why is that imperfection? And you'll have people come and say, well, we're fallen, so we're not perfect anymore. But I mean, at the same time, God could at any moment just make sure that no one's born with a genetic illness or genetic problem. He could literally be involved in every single one and create perfectly genetically perfect people whenever he wants to. And he chooses not to. And I trust and believe with all of my heart that he is not evil, he is love. So everything he does is for my good and for the good. I love my sister. I mean, she passed away, but she's a delight and she taught so many people so many things, and I wouldn't want her not in this world.
Mhm.
And she loved God, she with childlike faith. I mean, I don't think it occurred to her to question, right? And he took her home when she was done. And I can't wait. I guess that's one thing when I'm done. And I'll know with my eyes, I won't have to ask God, but is my sister genetically perfect on the other side? Or is she exactly the way she was here because that's the way God created her intentionally? And that is who she is.
Mhm.
For a long time, I thought my sister's going to be whole and I'm gonna meet the sister that's like me, that can think all of those things. But I actually don't know that because who's to say that she isn't exactly the way she was supposed to be?
Yeah.
And that one I don't know. That one that's my big question is, you know, well, one of them, right? Why? Because, we could say, why is there disease? Why is there illness? But you know what? In every case, it has the opportunity, if we let it, to bring out the best of us, of what we can be with God's help and with the love that he provides us to be giving generously out to all of those. I think that's what Second Corinthians, right? This came to me earlier and I just want to read it. uh and God is able to bless you abundantly so that in all things at all times having all that you need you will abound in every good work, as it is written, they have freely scattered their gifts to the poor, their righteousness endures forever. Now he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also supply and increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness. You will be enriched in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion. Through us, your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. And it goes on. But what would be the recipient of our generosity if everybody had everything and everything was perfect?
Mhm.
Where would the opportunity to be generous even come from?
Mhm. Yeah.
And even those with nothing can be generous, as we've seen the woman who gave her last um, coin.
It's about, it comes down to perspective, right? I remember a story. I don't remember what church we were in, but they told the story about this poor family. There's a poor family in our church, and we want to bless them. We want to bless them. It was like a Christmas story. We want to bless them this holiday season. And so everybody was asked to bring in gifts for this poor family. And there was a family, and what they had were potatoes. They'd been growing potatoes. So they had potatoes to give, and they brought these potatoes in to church to give to this poor family who needed. And then on Christmas morning, the family who gave the potatoes opened the door to see all the gifts. They didn't think they were poor. They didn't think they were poor. It's a perspective. It's a
Yeah,
perspective shift. Oh, beautiful.
that's gorgeous. Wow.
I know, right? I know. They didn't know they were poor.
And they weren't.
They weren't.
Okay, they weren't.
They had everything that
That
they
they
needed.
needed,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
and when we are in a, oh gosh, that just opens up a whole other thing. But that's my question. So I think, you know, yes, these things are allowed to happen. The Bible talks about the poor and the widow and the infirm and the sick and the people in jail and the people that we are supposed to minister to
Yeah.
and and be generous to and love. And love, God is love. And
Hmm.
when we have that, we have and as my pastor spoke about this last week, and we have an infinite supply to give out. That's the one resource that we don't have to conserve. There's an infinite
Yes.
supply of love. And I was talking to my dad last night. We were at dinner. We do that every month. And we were talking about, I was just in gratitude yesterday morning that my phone was full of texts from my church family, from people in my life, that this it was never like that. It wasn't until I said, God, expand my world. Let me show me who to love. Show me who you want me to talk to minister to. Not just my business, right? Not just about that. Not just my family, my whole entire world. Lord, just bring people. And I used to be so selfish with my time. No such thing. I don't know how he puts this many hours in a day at this point. And I'm so blessed that not only am I able to lavish God's love, be a conduit of that generosity and love that has to come from God.
Hmm.
You know, love is the sash that binds the garments together.
Yes.
Everything else otherwise doesn't make sense, and it just flops, and it's not good. But by the grace of God, I'm able to love and be generous and be the recipient of love and generosity.
It's kind of
And
how he designed it, right? That whole community thing. I was thinking about this the other day when one of us is lacking, when one of us is struggling, when one of us is suffering. Not everybody is, right? And that makes it possible for other people to be present in your life. And then when I'm not struggling or suffering anymore, I'm able to be present in someone else's life. It's the community. It's
this is so
beautiful.
true. I have a Bible Together group, and we read the Bible. Oh, I we asked for prayer the other day, and it's not everybody had been participating because life happens. We get busy, and we think, oh well, I don't have anything to contribute, but we have prayer, we have requests, and one person shared an amazing testimony. Something that we had been praying for them came through, and another person shared devastating news,
Mm.
and we're all praying. So it just goes to show, like, yes, we're there for each other, and which side of that you fall on, giver, receiver, will change.
It depends on sometimes it depends on the moment, not even
I was going
necessarily
to say, I thought
the
you were going to
moment.
say day, and I'm like, or hour, or minute, or second.
The moment. I want to go back to your sister because it reminds me of what you were saying, reminds me of this great book by Randy Alcorn. Are you familiar with Randy Alcorn?
Mm-hmm.
So he wrote a book called Deadline, and he had a follow-up called Dominion, but Deadline is the book that really just like opened my eyes to this concept that you're talking about. I think when we read that we will be perfect, in heaven, everything will be perfect. I- I've talked to people and they have this Bo Derek idea in their head that when we get there, we're going to look like supermodels, and everything's going to be, perfect and whatever perfection is, right? Bo Derek was the standard back in the 80s, right? Anyway, I feel like because of reading Randy Alcorn's book, I feel like what is going to be perfected is our spirit and our mind. And our body will be perfect in that there will be no more pain, there will be no more any of that. But I don't think that we're all going to look alike and we're all going to be supermodels. I feel like the body that I have is the body that I'm going to have there. It's just going to be lacking the things that made it difficult here. And the reason I say this regarding Randy Alcorn's book, in the book, there was a character, a young man, probably teenager, and I don't remember it so long ago, but he had Down syndrome. Down syndrome. And the great thing about this book Deadline is it's a constant paradigm shift. You're on the earth experiencing all the things that are going on here, and then they do a paradigm shift up to heaven where you see what's going on in heaven while all these things are going on down on earth. And one of the characters dies and he goes to heaven, and he's sent to a classroom because we don't know everything, right? So he's sent to this classroom and he's sitting in the classroom, and the teacher, he's like, man, that teacher looks so familiar. Why do I recognize that teacher? What is it about this teacher that looks so familiar? The teacher had Down syndrome. Like the people, the kind of the thought behind the book is the people that we view as less than here, incapable here. Maybe they have a genetic disorder that makes it difficult for them to participate in life fully here, made it possible for them to participate in life fully there. And I was like, oh, what a great, yeah, seriously, my mind was just like totally blown because it's like I said, we have this idea that perfection is,
Oh my
I don't
gosh,
know.
this is taking me to a place that I actually said in my mind I wasn't going to go on our
I'm sorry.
podcast. But not to you, but I was like, oh no, God, we can't talk about this because this is too controversial. It's coming to a head right now because there is a legislature being proposed to say that up to the moment of birth, a child can be aborted for any reason. That's
We're not a
there.
political podcast,
This is not a
but
political podcast. This is,
politics is part of life, and we're talking about life.
but I think, there's always been talk, getting a genetic test and deciding, do you want to keep this child if you know that they're going to be disabled? And I understand there's a huge commitment when you're thinking they're going to need care for the rest of their life. They're not going to be able to live on their own, whatever. But my church has a ministry called the Happy Place, and it is for special needs of all kinds. And so there are so many. I cry when I think about it. My sister would have loved, I wish she had gotten to be a part of this. I so wish she had gotten to be a part of it. She would have loved it. And my walking buddy has a special needs child. I just know so many people with special needs children, and all different, like not, in fact, very few with Down syndrome. These are children that have things that aren't common, and they're all blessings. Like every single mom that I talk to, everybody that works in the Happy Place, when I get to know these kids. When I went walking, her son came with us, and we were just having so much fun and pointing out. We were counting all the flags. It was before 4th of July. We were counting all the flags on our walk, and he was asking all these questions. And he's a unique, so he doesn't have a syndrome because there's so many things that are scrambled. They didn't even think he was going to be verbal, but he's just a walking miracle. He wasn't supposed to even survive this long. He's just a walking miracle, and there's no help for her to know what to expect. I knew my sister was going to probably die of cancer because I knew the genetic mutation she had. We just don't know. So on the way back, she recorded a little bit to me to send me, and he wanted to pray, and he's like, I want to pray, and he says, God, thank you for walks with Stephanie. And I love these kids. I love these young men. I love these young women. And they're such a blessing. And they're an opportunity to serve. They're an opportunity to be generous. They're an opportunity to be grateful that you have capabilities. But it's also, I can't imagine someone telling me my sister shouldn't have been born. I can understand that it's a lot of work. But Ephesians tells us that God has prepared in advance what we are to do on this world. For we are God's handiwork. My sister was God's handiwork. My friend's son is God's handiwork. My friend's daughter is God's handiwork. Created in Christ
My friend
Jesus.
is God's. I'm thinking of specific people. My friend is God's handiwork.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my friend.
Think
He is
think about the people in your life that our society, our world looks and goes, "Ooh, look how broken they are." They are God's handiwork.
created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do.
Mhm.
And that job might be whatever, caring for someone so that you can get from where you are now to the potential that God has created for you, the place in life that He has created you. I was talking about Job with my dad last night because we think that's everybody's fear, right? That God will decide to allow you to go through this great hardship to form something in you on the other side, and we don't want it, right? We would think, oh well, Job, what did Job need to change? He came into this and he was a good man and he loved God and everything, but he did have a heart change through all of that. He did, and he didn't expect to get everything back by the end. He absolutely recognized the sovereignty of God, and then God said, "Okay, now you're where I want you. Here's double of everything." He didn't have to do that, and Job didn't expect it.
Well, I just think back, like I would not be who I am now had I not gone through all the things that I've gone through. Um, and we
I
don't
wouldn't
need to
want to do
list.
them again,
I
but
wouldn't.
I wouldn't not do them. I would
Right,
not have it happen to me.
right. And I would not be the person I am. I would not be the coach I am. I would not be the mother I am, the grandmother I am, had I not. And I know that about myself, right? I know that about myself.
Well,
So,
I mean, a sculpture doesn't suddenly go from a lump of rock to a sculpture, and you never stop because even at the end of your life, there's still some polishing and some little. They might not be huge, painful changes anymore.
well,
When you've been completely and utterly sold out to God, you're just like, you know what? Here I am, Lord,
mhm.
and you've
Well,
let
and I
go
want
of
to
all
say,
anxiety and you've embraced all trust, and you are meditating on all of the good things, and you are practicing the fruits of the spirit, and nobody's perfect in all of this, by the way, but you're still going to always be polished. There's always something. It might be less
I don't,
painful as time goes on.
and I don't think the polishing ends when our life here ends because we are
Mm-mm.
eternal beings. It's
Oh
going to
yeah.
continue to happen. Like we're not, I don't think we get to heaven and then we know everything and we sit around bored for the rest of eternity,
Oh gosh,
right?
no. Oh
I
no, I
mean,
do. I think there are works that he
it's
prepared in advance for us to do after our time
going
on
to
earth.
keep going. It's going to keep going. Yes.
I mean, if he created us to want to have a purpose, we're not going to suddenly not have a purpose and
Not
people
have
are
a
like, well, your
purpose.
purpose is to worship God. What is God? What is worshiping God? It is in everything that you do. It is in acknowledging him. Faith is worship. Acknowledging
Mhm.
him, having a lot, seeing something in your life happen and saying, wow, God, thank you for that. Noticing like your entire life as you
Yeah.
live it is
Is
an
worship.
act of worship when you are focused on the presence of God first and foremost in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean you don't cook dinner or poop.
And we're going to bring it right back around to poop because that's where we started.
It sounds wrong. But I have been known to thank God for a really good one.
I don't
Because
see, not TMI, not TMI.
it's
Okay, so when our kids are little, right? And we're potty training and they go potty, what do
we
we do?
celebrate it.
We celebrate. We go, good job. Yay. Good for you. You did
We've
so
done the flush
good.
bye poop. We've said bye poop.
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
Why do we stop with that level of celebration and curiosity when we become adults? Because we get bogged down by life and it's just another thing we have to do. But God designed it this way and we should be giving glory. We should be worshiping even in our poop.
And this is the thing that I want to come back to. This is what's coming into my heart right now, is that if you can't do that, if you find yourself nitpicking on everything everybody else is doing, if you feel bitterness or unforgiveness in your heart, if you feel like, I know God, I'm a reader of the word, I'm a hearer of the word, but yet I'm still discontent, I still grab back that worry, I don't like how I feel inside all the time, or I feel self-righteous. Like, be honest with yourself, be brutally honest with yourself. There is that's It's from brokenness. There are patterns. I mean, we all have to go through that place. And God will let you hit that rock bottom if that's what it takes for you to get to where he wants you to be. And the
Mhm.
more, my dad used this analogy last night. So you've heard the scripture about kicking against the goad.
Mhm.
And a goad is to push the cattle into the pen, and it actually has a pointy bit to get them to go. And if you kick against it, if you're pushing against and you're not wanting to make the forward progress to go to the place that God wants you to go, it's bloody and painful and futile. But I mean, you can continue to kick and not go forward, but it is going to be you bleed. The oxen would bleed if they tried to kick against the goad. We're just fighting what God wants us to do. And so you can believe, but you can be absolutely stuck in a pattern when you don't completely surrender it to God, when you don't completely humble yourself before God on your face and say, God, I need you to let this go because I'm not capable. I need you. And remove from me all of the like, help me see where I'm unforgiving, and help me forgive.
Mhm.
Help me love every single person the way you love them, because there's nothing unforgivable. Jesus isn't that weak. That was a perfect sacrifice. And if he can do it, who am I to
Yeah.
say no? Because that's what holds people back from having this fullness, from being able to sit here. My whole entire life foundation until a year ago probably was just built on anxiety and stress. And it was something I had to continually give to God, and then I would take it back. And I can tell you, I mean, he may test it. There may be some polishing. Maybe I'm not, but I'm just sitting here with such a trust that I feel like I'm sitting in my life. I'm doing all the things that he puts before me to do. I'm like, okay, God, what's next? And I'm sitting here eating popcorn going, what's going to happen next? Wow, there's a lot of uncertainty coming forward, and I have no idea where X, Y, or Z is going to come from, but I'm curious as to how it's going to happen. If I need it, it'll be there. This will be a fun story.
And I love that because, he tells us to come to me like little children, and little children are full of curiosity. And I think when we approach life with that level of curiosity, coming to him, sitting at his feet and going, "What's next?
Absolute
Like,
trust.
what's next?" That makes all the difference. And maybe having a good poop is what's next. So, I'm curious to know what's on your list of questions for heaven.
Yeah. What is it? What's that burning question that it's the first thing out of your mouth when you meet God face to face?
Apparently mine's going to be about poop. I don't know.
We are so glad you spent this time with us. If today's conversation put even a little hope back in your spirit, tell us below. We love hearing how God moves through these episodes.
And be sure to like, subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, hit the bell so you don't miss what God's doing in our little corner of YouTube. This is your faith, first space to learn, heal, and rise one episode at a time.
And don't keep this to yourself. Send it to the woman God just put on your heart, because he did. Someone needs this today.
May his peace anchor you, his truth ground you, and his presence be the loudest voice in your life. We will see you next time on Heart and Soul Elevation.